Hello everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here with a new project for you. This project is available as a kit in my shop at scrappingundertheinfluence.com. This is using Echo Park Fireflies, and we have a super chunky 6x6 album. So the kit comes with all of the cardstock and chipboard to build the album base. Comes with your ribbons, your magnets for closures, the 6x6 mega pad of Fireflies from Echo Park, and a 12x12 solids kit and a 12x12 sticker sheet and the chipboard accents. So that is what is going to come in your kit. So let's take a quick flip through this. So on the front here I just have chipboards because they were cute, and this collection is so cute. This would be good, quite honestly, like for baby paper, you know, a baby album, just a summer fun album. It's just adorable and can be used for a lot of different things. So when we open this up, we've got an accordion pocket over here. First page, we've got a flap, goes up and down, and then there is a belly band to tuck in some more pictures there. On the back of that page we've got a couple of photo spots and a nice pocket. Front of page 2 we've got a 5x5 insert. We've got a little pull out, and of course you could put more things in the pocket there with that insert. The next page we've got a pocket on a flap, and this comes up like so, and then up one more time, so lots of space there for pictures. Over here we've got a little 3x3 flip page for some of the pictures that you want to crop down. There's a couple of spots on there for journaling as well, and that is held closed with a magnet. Back here we've got a pocket here, and then a 3x4 waterfall. I ended up not using any white photo mats. I had more than enough of the solids to mat everything that I wanted to mat in here. Over here we've got kind of a stacked flip page with another big photo mat back here. This side we've got another pull out. So there's that, and then that. Over here we've got another little flip page with another belly band, and that one is also magnetic. Back here we have angled pocket pages with an angled flap on top. I did leave that like this on purpose so that you could see that this does open up. And our last page, we have another little fold out and another flap and tons of space for pictures here as well. And finished it off with another accordion pocket. So the link for this kit will be in the description box below, along with links to any of my other project kits that are currently available. I am sold out of a couple of them that won't be restocked. But the Doodlebug kits that are out there, I think we are on the last restock of those. And then I think there's one of the Beach Echo Park kits left, because I did restock it and they're gone again, which is awesome. But tutorial plays next. Thanks. Okay, so your chipboard is going to be 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. We are going to cover the back with tape. Your spine is going to be 6 1/4 by 3, because this one is a chunky one. So first thing I'm going to do is grab my scoreboard and my Clearview spacers, and my cardstock to wrap the covers is going to be 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. I'm going to put my cover spacer down. I'm going to put my top spacer down. And we'll go ahead and get the backing off of our tape. Like so. Okay. 8¼ by 8 again. Is going to go down like so. Alright, with the top spacer, we're going to swap out for our spine spacer. The cardstock for our spine is apparently not correct. Wait. No, it is not. What did I do? Oh, maybe I did. Oh my god, it's fine. I just 6¼ by, or I'm sorry, 8¼ by 6. It's fine. It's been a long week. Okay. We're done with our spacers. Move that out of the way. I'm gonna grab my 1/4" tape and my bone folder. We are going to fold around and burnish. So you're just using the chipboard to fold the cardstock around. And if you've made albums like this before, you can literally skip this part of the tutorial. There is nothing out of the ordinary in this. And I'm sure you probably know how to do this already. Okay. Fold and burnish. And fold and burnish. I'm going to grab my scissors and we're going to go ahead and trim. So we're going to do that on all 3 pieces, so just fold it in, miter, 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 open it up and go the opposite sides. Okay, and same thing on our spine. Okay, so now I am going to take my 1/4" tape and I'm going to go around get my 2 edges on the spine. We want to leave our wings as is. I'm going to go ahead and get the backing off of both of these. Off my glue. That was really stuck. This is probably clogged. What you want to bet? No, we're good. Okay. So I'm putting glue along the edge of the chipboard. Push up, over and down. So again, along the edge of the chipboard. This is getting due for a refill. Up, over and down. And then since this is the spine, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to burnish on the back side. because you'll see as I do that, it defines where the edge of that chipboard is. Okay, and then I'm going to tape along my outside edges on my wings. Okay. Now, the two cover pieces, we're going to go on all four sides with the tape to wrap this. All right, so there's that. And I'm going to come through, take the backing off of my tape all the way around. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and go down the sides, just like we did on the two ends on the spine. We're just going to do this all the way around. I like to do opposite sides as opposed to just moving around my cover. I just think it looks a little bit cleaner, even though most of that's going to be hidden with your matting. That's just my preference. Again, along the edge of the chipboard, and through the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to take my spine and both of my cover pieces. I'm going to start on this side with my spine and cover. I am going to put glue along the edge of my tape, along this outside edge. I'm not going to go all the way up to the chipboard, okay? I'm going to take this, I'm going to line this up on top of my cover. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to go along the edge. Okay. Line it up on top, guide it till it drops off, and then put it down. Okay? You need to very carefully pick it up and flip it over, and then we are going to put our reinforcement piece on the inside. This is 6 1/8 by 7? Yes, sorry, I was like looking at my notes because I made a change to the overall width of the spine at some point. And I'm just making sure I updated my note. So 6 1/8 by 7. And this piece, even if you glue absolutely everything else on this album, this is the piece that you want to do the tape 100% all the way across, because this is going to ensure when we line this up, center it, and drop it down, and then burnish it, it is going to go down completely flat. It's not going to bubble. We're not going to have any issues with parts of it not sticking. It goes down completely smooth. So I'm going to fold up and burnish, fold up and burnish, and then I'm going to fold, closed, and pinch. I pinch because it helps just really seat everything in there and finish it off. And there is our cover of our super chunky album. Okay, I'm gonna set that to the side. We are gonna go ahead and do our hinge. So I am going to turn my scoreboard sideways because for me, it is much easier for me to get a straight score line doing it as if I'm drawing a line as opposed to pulling it down. So for your hinge, you need a piece that is 8.5, let's turn it the right direction, by 6. You want the 8.5 at the top of your scoreboard. You are going to score every 1/2 inch all the way across. Okay. So 1/2 inch, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. Okay. So now I am going to take this in my bone folder. I am not going to start at an end. I am going to start in the middle. So because I'm starting in the middle and I don't want to confuse myself as to what is actually a hinge and what is a gusset, I am going to mark on the back. Well, maybe I am. Anywhere that is an X is a hinge and will get glued together. Anything without an X is a gusset. Okay, like so. So I'm going to pick one of my 2 middle sections. I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to make sure it's lined up side to side, that my score line is not crooked. And then I'm going to burnish from the middle out. Okay. And I'm going to fold back. And again, from the middle out. Okay. Turn it over. I'm going to fold my hinge towards me, and the same thing again, from the middle out. Okay, there's your first hinge. Then you go back to this side. We're going to go to the next one in the middle. So where I had 6 pages, I went on page 3 and 4, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to make sure everything is lined up side to side. Start in the middle and out. Okay, fold back, and again from the middle out. Turn it over, fold the hinge back towards myself, and then again from the middle out. Okay, so now there's 2. I'm going to go to my next one, starting again, not at the end. Make sure we're lined up, side to side, burnish from the middle out. Fold back, burnish from the middle out, turn it over, fold the hinge towards yourself. Okay, and there you go. Turn it back over. We're going to go to our next one. Again, I'm going to fold it over, make sure it's lined up side to side, burnish from the middle out. So when I'm going like this and then back, I'm putting pressure from the middle and then pressure from the middle. Okay. Open this back up. From the middle out, middle out. Turn it over. Bend the hinge towards you. From the middle out, middle out. Okay. So there's 4 of our 6. Now you can go ahead and do your end one. Middle out, turn it over, fold it towards you, and then again, middle out, middle out. Okay, last one, fold it in, middle out, turn it over, fold it up towards you, middle out, middle out. So now you've got all of your stuff nice and folded and burnished and everything else, and we're going to start gluing, and we're going to do it the same way. We're going to start in the middle and then back and forth all the way out. Okay, so let me grab a paper towel. These are the blue shop towels from Costco. They have them like at the auto parts store and like at Lowe's. They don't have any lint, like they don't leave lint behind, and I've been using them to wipe up glue and other stuff in my craft room for forever, it feels like at this point. They're amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my glue. I'm gonna fold it towards me, and again, we're gonna burnish from the middle out. This is why we have the paper towel. And the middle out. We're going to fold it back and burnish again. Just make sure everything sticks. Turn it over, fold it towards yourself, and burnish it out. Okay, turn it over. We're going to go to our next one. We're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, fold it over. Burnish it out and out, fold it back, and again we're going to go out and out, turn it over, fold it towards yourself, and out and out. Okay, so we have 2 hinges attached. Go to the next one. Okay, middle out, fold over, middle out, turn it back, fold it towards yourself, and same thing. Okay, now we need this one. Out, fold it back, middle out, turn it over towards you, and there you go. And you're on your last one, which of course is the easiest. So over, and fold it back and over again. And then we look at our last one. Okay. All right. So that is your hinge. Now I usually will kind of fold them all one direction and burnish, and then fold them all back the other direction and burnish. Just to kind of train them. And if you want to see if you got your hinge even, you're going to pick it up, you're going to fold in those 2 end hinges, and you're going to measure it. At the top, I am at 2.5 inches. At the bottom, I am at 2.5 inches. In the middle, I am at 2.5 inches. So taking that time and working from the middle out on your hinges will pretty much guarantee they're going to be straight every single time. I have struggled with hinges forever and ever and ever. And when I sat down and really started concentrating on that, it made such a huge difference. Okay, so that is going to go right here in the middle. If you would like to mat underneath this, you can. I think I'm going to. I have to find my paper. And I think I want this one. So I am going to find a paper trimmer first off. And I'm actually going to mat all the way. Well, no, I'm just going to do my spine. So it's 3 inches, so I'm going to go 2 7/8 by 6 1/8, maybe slightly over 6 1/8. And we'll go ahead and do that down. I think I want the yellow side up. The yellow, kind of goldish yellow that's in this collection against like all the darker colors is so pretty. Okay, so there is that. And then we'll go ahead. I'm going to pick my spine up in the middle. Okay, hold it in the middle. Glue all over my back side of this. Okay. Then I'm going to hold it by my outside edges and I'm going to center it. Okay. So I've got it centered. I'm going to hold it still with one finger and then I'm going to burnish in between in those gussets with the other one. So that it doesn't move, and then I'm going to set this aside. Okay, your page bases are 6 by 12. You do need 6 of them. So 3 sheets of paper. Okay, all of these will be scored at 6 inches with the 12-inch side at the top. This one's short enough, I'm not going to worry too much about scoring it sideways. I'm going to go ahead and just come through and score all of these. Because originally this was going to be way chunkier. This was actually going to be 8 pages and a 4-inch spine. And then I came to my senses and went, that's overkill. Overkill, Colleen. No, sorry. There's like 3 people that would even get that. I apologize. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is fold and burnish all of my page bases. And when I fold these, I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the hinge. I'm gonna line up, make sure everything's lined up, and go from the middle out. Okay. So again, I'm going to fold it over, make sure everything's lined up, middle out. Oops. Okay. Again. So there are our page bases. Now, I'm trying to decide which way I really want to do this. If I want to put them in and then put elements on the page, or if I want to put the page elements on and then put them in the book. I go back and forth pretty much every album. I think we're going to go ahead and put them in the book. Okay. So I need to grab my spacers. Okay. So my spacers are good for 5 pages. We have 6. So what we're going to do is put them onto the first 5, maybe. Okay. This one's a tight one. It does not want to go. Or it's all of the random glue and stuff that has ended up on these over the last year, because I'm not good about going in and getting them all cleaned off, but that's okay. Alright, and because it's a shorter album, they are going to meet in the middle, which is absolutely fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so you can see, with the spacers on there, you've got an 1/8 of an inch. That one's not down all the way. Okay. And then I picked it up and moved it, so now it's not down all the way either. It's one of those days where I should not be doing this, I can tell you right now. Because it's about to be train wreck tutorial time. No, not really, but it just feels like it sometimes. Okay, so those are on. What I'm going to do, because I've kind of, as I've used these more and more and more, I've kind of revised how I do this, okay? We are going to attach one side. So I'm going to go in here with my glue on the hinge itself, just on the ends, okay? I'm going to close this up. I'm going to put it over my hinge, line it up, push it all the way down, and hold it for just a second to give that glue on those ends a chance to set. Okay, and we will go to the next one. Or not, because that didn't stick. Because it's Utah and it's very dry, and literally, I swear to God, all the cardstock just sucks up the glue because it's, you know, some sort of moisture, and then it doesn't actually glue. So we're going to hold it for a second and probably sit here in uncomfortable silence because I don't know what to tell you in the meantime. I don't have a tip or a trick for you at the moment. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think we're good because I now have glue on the hinge spacer itself, so we're probably good. This time I'm going to actually do it on the corners, on the page itself, and then come in here and drop it down. And hold it. Check my battery, make sure we're good. I should get through this much of it before I have to stop and change the battery out on the camera, which is the one downfall to the new camera is I don't really have a power source for it that's not just the internal battery. Okay, so your pages on this one are the same height as your hinge, so kind of keep that in mind when you're putting those down. I can see on this one especially, like, I am not at all lined up. But you know what? I personally am fine. Because this one's not going to anybody. This is just going to add to my collection, and then 2 or 3 years from now I'll go, I have too many albums, and I'll go through and purge it. Much like I did a lot of other albums in this last week. I think there's about, I don't know, I had a whole bunch of people buy them in the last like week and a half. So I do have picture-ready mini albums on my website, if you have not seen them already. These are old design team projects, kits from retreats or classes I've been in, or sometimes taught at, although usually my retreat projects that I taught end up being given away at the retreat. Because usually by that point I was so tired of the project, I really did not care. And it just needed to be out of my sight, because I'd usually made it 2 or 3 times at that point between, you know, doing it at the event and everything else. But I do have quite a few on there still. There's about 15 new ones. I think 2 or 3 of them have sold. And then there's probably about another 40 that I had listed prior to that. So if you're looking for, and I listed a couple of my shaped albums. One of them sold almost immediately. I listed my farmhouse. It is gone. Not my barn. My barn with the doodlebug on the farm is a totally different story. That one is up on the shelf. It is never leaving this room. In fact, I will probably insist that I be buried with it. I'm mostly joking, but not totally. Okay, so when you're taking these out, you want to slide them out. You don't want to try and pull them up over your pages. They will break if you do that. Okay, so I'm not going to try and reposition them for this last page. The last page, I'm going to do it more old school. I'm going to do my adhesive all the way down this edge. Open this up. And of course, you know, if you don't have the spacers, I totally understand. You're going to end up doing the whole thing this way. But this way, I don't have to worry about making sure that last page gets in there. Or I have, you know, try to mess with the spacers and get them positioned back in there when I've already got pages in. Okay, so now I'm going to come back the other direction. I'm going to go along my hinge, and I'm going to go along the bottom of the page. Okay, and on this one, because it was our one we did without the spacer, that one's apparently getting pulled out of shape because wiping the glue off too aggressively. That one, we're good. Okay, this one, because we only did our ends, I'm going to put my glue tip under there and get underneath. Then go down my spine, or not my spine, my hinge, and then across the bottom, and then fold it over and burnish it down. Okay. And do the same thing again. Okay. Fold it over. Burnish it down. Burnish it down. Okay. And again. Again. I might brush it that way. I'm going to try not to tear my other page because I'm getting way too aggressive in burnishing that down. Which honestly, it wouldn't be the first time. That just probably has been edited out of the videos where I have managed to do that. Alright, and our last one. Get in there, down our hinge, along the bottom. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be the front. I am I'm going to find my pencil. I'm going to put a little front, back, just so that I don't start putting page elements on upside down, because Lord knows I have done it before. It would not be the first time. I have like a random piece of paper in my pile over here and I'm not sure why. Okay, I'm going to switch batteries and I'll be back. Okay, so we are going to start with our front and back inside covers. Both of these are getting an accordion pocket. So you need a piece of cardstock that is 9.5 by 4 3/4 with the 9.5, I'm sorry, not 9.5, 9.25. 9.25 by 4 3/4. With the 9.25 at the top, you're going to score a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5. Turn it all the way around. Do the same thing on the other end. So 1/2, 1, 1.5. Turn to my 4 3/4 side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. Okay. Do the same thing on the other piece. So 1/2 inch, 1, 1.5. Half, 1, 1.5. Turn to your 4 3/4 side, score at 1/2 inch and 3/4. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and cut slightly above the score line on the bottom here, and then we're going to come in, do the same on this inside score line over here. So you're going to cut just slightly inside, so like right on this inside edge. Okay. Inside edge, and then we're going to miter ever so slightly at the top. Okay. My book. I'm going to fold and burnish. And fold and burnish. And then of course on your sides you're going to go in, out, in, in, out, we're going to attach the bottom first. So this bottom, you're going to do all flush with the bottom of the cover and with this corner to the outside edge. Okay. Burnish that down. We can fold in our sides. Kind of pinch them down like so, and then glue them down. Okay. I push them in a little bit if it's hanging off too far on the edge there. But there we go. I'm gonna flip to the back, and we're gonna do the same thing again. Why I do that. I always put it on like the wrong side of where I'm trying to actually, because I'm right-handed. I mean, I'm actually fairly ambidextrous, but I always glue with my right hand as much as I can. I can actually write with both hands. I just haven't practiced in grade school. I used to write with my left hand when I was bored, which was a lot. So there was a point in time there I was really good with either hand. And if you don't know this, if you're new here, I'm an accountant. And I work for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children currently, and I have for almost 12 years now. And I'm fully remote. But one of my jobs many years ago, my desk setup was such that if I had my 10-key calculator on the right hand side, it would have been like in the middle of my desk where people would come in and like sit, and it would just be like right there. So I would actually total stuff with it on the left side and then key it in on the computer with the right, which was absolutely insane. So yeah, anyway, not that that has anything to do with this, but just, you know, weird little tidbit about me. All right, page 1 front, we have 2 flaps and a belly band. So our belly band is going to be 7 by 2. So with the 2 inches at the top of the scoreboard, we're going to score at, I'm sorry, it's 7 inches at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 6.5. Our first flap is going to be 4.5 by 6. With the 4.5 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. And our second one is going to be 6.5 by 6. With the 6.5 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, go ahead and miter. And then on the belly band, you're going to miter all 4 corners. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and put our belly band down first. I'm just going to fold and burnish. Okay, it's going to run side to side. Okay, so I'm going to start as I fling it off the back side of the desk, because of course I am. All right. We are going to start on the side closest to the spine, and you can see on here especially where the difference that spacer makes. So you've got like a perfect spacing here so that your pages turn very, 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 very smoothly. Okay, So I am just going to eyeball my center here. And go to the edge of the page, not the edge of the hinge. Okay. Right back the other side. And get the other side. Go. And burnish my hinges, or hinges, my flaps. And this one is supposed to have a ribbon closure, and I did not grab my ribbon. Let me go grab the ribbon. I'll be right back. Okay, ribbon. All right, so what we're gonna do, our smaller flap, this is not working, I need to move this. Our smaller flap is going to go up here at the top. The bottom flap is going to come up from the bottom, so they're going to close over each other. So we need to put ribbon down here first. So let me grab a piece of tape and my ribbon. I'm going to put this down at the bottom here and go ahead and attach my bottom flap. So that is just going to be flush with the bottom of our page all the way to this outside edge. Okay. And then the top one, so I haven't cut my ribbon off yet, obviously, is going to go up here. And what I should have checked prior to actually attaching that is making sure that we don't need to take anything off the edge of that, which I think I actually do. So I am going to pull that back up, apparently all the way, grab my trimmer, and I'm going to take about, not quite an 1/8 inch off of that, just so that it's not bumping into the top flap. So you'll, of course, with your own project, have to kind of dry fit that together and make sure it fits where you want it to. Seriously, why does this feel like it's wider than my actual page? It's not, it's just me. Okay, so let's put our ribbon back on there and try that one more time. I actually end up having to do that kind of thing a lot because I will completely forget, you know, just little things like that. And you would think after doing this for as long as I've been doing this that I wouldn't forget that kind of thing anymore, but every once in a while I still just have like this complete, you know, moment of, oh, you know, basic steps here. Let's try and follow them for a change. Okay, so that one's going to go down at the very top. Open that up. So this should close down, this should close over it. So we don't need a ton of ribbon. If you are very much like me and are not good with the tying of the things, you're going to want more. But we are just going to line this one up like so, because when we mat, of course, that will cover that up, but our little bow is just going to be down here at the bottom. See, I could have gone with way less ribbon, but again, I'm not good at the bow tying, so that's why we do it that way. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let's move on. I have fixed my camera because I was a little further out than I really wanted to be. All right, so the back side of page 1, we have a pocket and a flap. So our pocket is going to be 3.5 by 7. With the 7 inch at the top, we are going to score it 1/2 inch. Turn it, 1/2 inch again. Turn and 1/2 inch again. And then we have a flap that is 4 by 6 with the 6 inches at the top. We're going to score this one at 1/2 inch. And then go ahead and miter. And then the pocket, you're of course going to miter across the bottom where those 4 lines cross. And then up here at the top. Grab our book. We're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. I'm going to go against the way I normally do this. I'm going to put glue on all 3 sides. And go ahead and put this in, lining it all the way up to the bottom and to the outside corner. Okay. And burnish. And then our flap is going to just go centered at the top. We are not going to do a magnet or ribbon on this one because we actually have chipboards as far as embellishments, and the chipboard piece on top of that will be more than enough to weight that down. Okay. All right. Page 2. Okay, where's my page 2? Did my stuff get out of order? It did. Okay, front side of page 2, we have an accordion page pull out. So this is 4 by 11. With the 11 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Four inches. I was looking at my notes and seeing if it actually made sense. And 7.5. Okay. We then have a pocket that is 7 by 2. We're going to score with the 7 inches at the top at 1/2 inch and at 6.5. And this is what I'm trying to remember. I think this one goes flat, so we're going to leave that one for right now. And then we have another flap, or no, we have an insert that is 5 by 5 that does not get any scoring. That's where I was confused. Okay, so on our flap, we are going to miter at the top. And we are going to fold and burnish. Okay, so we'll go on like so. So we're going to go back, make sure you're lined up side to side, burnish from the middle out, and go back the other direction, and burnish from the middle out. Okay, so this we are going to center up on the outside edge. And I want to just double check. Yes, our pocket is going to be completely flat. So we are going to miter on all four corners and fold and burnish. Okay, so this is going to go to the outside here. And we are going to go tabs, and then we are going to go across the bottom. Okay. And that is going to go all the way down like so. And then our tuck spot, our insert is going to go like that. Okay. Back side of page 2, we have I'm not sure what we have. We have 2 flaps and a pocket. So, first flap is going to be 5.5 by 6.5. With the 6.5 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Pocket is going to be 6.5 by 4. So starting on the six and a half inch side, we're going to score it 1/2 inch. Turn, 1/2 inch again. Turn and 1/2 inch. And then our last piece is 6 by 6.5. We're going to start on the 6.5 side. I'm sorry, we're going to score on the 6.5 side at 1/2 inch. Okay. We're going to go and miter on our flaps. And then on our pocket, which hopefully I sized correctly, and I did. Okay, so the pocket is going to go on this flap. Okay, so that is going to go like so. And all the way to the edge. Okay. Burnish and fold and burnish. Yes. Okay, this flap is going on top of this one, centered. Okay, so I'm going to put all of that together before this goes in the book. So there's my tab. There's my tab. And we are just going to center that up like so. And burnish it down. Grab our book. I'm going to turn the top towards me. And then this will go like so. Okay. All right. Okay, page 3. This is a fun one because there are 3x3 cut aparts in this little 6x6 paper pad. So we have 4 pieces that are 3.5 by 3. With the 3.5 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. I'm going to do that on all 4 pieces. Then you have a closure piece, and this is where our magnets are going to go. And this is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. It does not have any scoring. Okay. So I'm actually going to stack all of those together and miter them at once. Okay. Now, I'm going to fold and burnish all 4 of these. We're going to go ahead and start with the bottom outside corner. So this is going to go down even with that bottom outside corner. Okay. The next one is going to go to the bottom inside corner, but it is going to open towards the spine. Okay. These may have a tiny bit of overlap. It's fine because they're all going to open out in different directions. Okay. Top outside corner, or inside corner that is, and that one's going to open up and out. And then top outside corner, and it's going to open out to the side. Okay, so that's how that one's going to go. We're going to have 2 sets of magnets for this page. Okay, with the super thin magnets, you're not pulling them apart, you're going to slide them. Okay. See if I can even get this where you can see it, okay? I'm going to slide them. Okay, so that motion right there, and it comes off. Okay. So I'm going to separate them all out and just put them on my work surface, away from each other, like so. Okay. And I'm not positive how many there are in this yet, so that was literally just like my stack that is my supplies off to the side here. Okay, I'm going to open up these 2. I'm going to center one up right there. I'm going to close those down. I'm going to drop one down on top. I'm going to open up these 2 flaps, pick the next one up with the tape, center it up, close these 2, and drop that down. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure that this is centered kind of top to bottom, and that they're not too close to an edge. Okay. Then I'm going to pick one of them up. I'm going to center this again, drop it down on top, and then tape it to my flap, or my closure piece, which is literally just going to have a cut apart on it. Okay. So we're going to do that again, put it back where it goes, pick up the other magnet, drop it down, and tape it down. Okay, so now you will pick that up and then all of your little flaps will open. And there you go. Okay? All right, moving on to the back side of page 3. This one we have a flap. Where's my pocket? Is that what that random piece was that didn't make any sense? That didn't get attached to anything that I sat here the other night going, last night going, where did this come from? Why is this here? There it was. I gotta figure out where I put it. That is a good question. I think I'm gonna have to recut it because I am not seeing it over here. All right. So this one is going to be 7 by 4.5. All right, grab the scoreboard again. With the 7 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 6.5. Turn it to the 4.5 side and score at 1/2 inch again. Okay. Sorry, my piece just looked odd for some reason. Okay, so we are going to miter this one. And then we have a waterfall that is going on this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that are 3.5 by 4. With the 3.5 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. All right, so let's go ahead. The waterfall pieces you are not going to miter. So I'm going to take my pocket. I am going to fold in my ends. Okay. Waterfall is going to start from the left side. So I'm going to fold and burnish. And go ahead and put my first piece on the outside edge of that pocket. So that's why I folded this in already, so that I can visually see where this needs to go. Okay? So we can go ahead and fold the bottom too. All right. I'll fold that one back out. Grab our next piece. Glue on there. It's going to go up against the piece before it. Make sure we're lined up. And repeat again. Okay. And our last piece. You're going to fold and burnish. And this one, we're going to fold that tab back. And it's going to go on top of the piece before it. Okay? So it does not go all the way across. If you want to add a couple more pieces, you can. So I have a closure piece that is 1.5 by 6. Okay. I have not scored this yet because I want to put this on here and kind of see where I need it, how far across the front here I want this to go. Okay. So there's our waterfalls. I want to go about right there. So I'm going to mark where that is. We're going to put this in the scoreboard, and I am at 4.5 on that. So I'm going to score this at 4.5. I am going to grab my trimmer, and I'm going to cut this one down to 5 inches. Okay, that's why we didn't cut this off. Start with that because you may want this to come across further, and so you can just adjust that where you think you want it to go. Okay, so go ahead and miter, fold and burnish, and then I'm going to center this over here. That will go to that outside edge, and then we will go ahead and add our magnets. Okay, so I'm going to add one of them. We're going to kind of figure out where needs to go. I am going to turn it the long way. Go ahead and put that down. Then I'm going to grab another piece of tape, close this up, drop my other magnet, which is why we're running it that direction. Okay. And then go ahead and adhere that one down. And then this whole thing, so there's our little waterfall on our pocket. This whole thing will go on the back side of page 3. Okay, like so. All right, moving on to the front side of page 4, we have some staggered flaps on this one. So I have 3 pieces that are 4 by 6.5. We are going to score all of these at 1/2 inch. So, the first one is going to get mitered and go down. Like so. Okay. The next one we're going to open this up, and I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish. This one is getting centered, but we need to cut just a tiny bit off the end. So I cut off about like that. Okay, So maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And then we can miter. And center this one. Okay. So you want this one to go as close to the fold on the one before it as you can get it. Okay. This next one we're going to miter again. And fold and burnish. And this one will go up here. And again, we want to get it as close to that as possible. So we're going to again take a sliver off of that one. Not quite an 1/8, not quite a 1/16, somewhere in between. You will need to kind of line yours up and see how much you need to trim off. Okay. The alternative is a process I've never been happy with the outcome, which is like trimming off part of your tab that adheres it. So that's why I'm not doing it that way. I never get it to come out where it lays right. So we're not going to do it that way. This way we're getting them all even at the edge here. The slight bit that they kind of, so you'll see here, there's like a tiny bit showing. The way you make that not as noticeable is this piece right here, you will mat all the way up to that edge. This piece you'll mat up to the edge of the one underneath it. And then this one you'll do your normal little bit, you know, 1/8 of an inch off. And that's how you get that to not be as noticeable. And then you have a really cool page assembly. Okay? All right, so the next one, we are going to do a pull out. I have 4 pieces that are 6 by 6. All of these we are going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Sorry, I keep pushing that too far down. Okay. I'm going to miter all of these. So I'm just stacking them together and mitering. Okay. Fold and burnish. This one is going to go on the outside edge. And fold and burnish the next one. It is going to go on top of this one. So this will open out. This will go to the other side. Okay. Fold and burnish your next one. And that one will go over here. Okay. And the last one. And then this whole thing will pull up and out like so. Okay. So we are on the back side here. And it is going to pull out like so. For just a minute there, I thought I was on the wrong one, but no, we're good. Okay. All right, so here's where we're at so far. We are chunky, which is what we're going for. Okay. Front of page 5. We have belly band that is 1.5 by 7. 7 at the top, you're going to score up 1/2 inch and 6.5. We have 2 flaps that are 3.5 by 4. We're going to score those on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then we have a piece that is 3.5 by 3. We're going to score that one at 1/2 inch on the 3.5 inch side. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and miter everything. Okay. And miter. Okay. So first thing that's going to go in is our little 3.5 by 3 inch piece. That one is going centered at the top. Okay. Next is our belly band, and that is going centered at the top. Make sure that closes. So I would suggest closing it just to make sure you don't end up accidentally pushing it up and kind of out of the way. And then the bottom. Okay. These are coming in from the side. Okay. So these are gonna go about like so. Okay. And our next set of magnets is going to go there on top of the belly band. So this will all close down like so, and our other magnet goes up there. Okay. This side, I think is getting the big one. Is that where that was going to go? Or did I just totally miss ribbon? I think I just missed the ribbon on that one. I'm not honestly sure. I think that was supposed to have ribbon that I just completely missed. Hold on. I think that's exactly what I did. Okay, so your ribbon should have gone underneath on here. However, that is not what happened. So instead, I'm going to attach it to the top of this back piece. Okay. Our other piece will go over here, like so. And then tie shut. Which of course now it doesn't want to stay because that was not ideal. Sorry about that. I totally did not think about that. Okay, there we go. All right, so this one, that's what that piece was. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think that's what this one was. Hold on, I have to think for a second. Okay. That is the pocket, because this is going to mirror itself. No, we're good. I don't know what I... Okay. Sorry. Okay, so 5 and 6 are going to mirror each other. Okay. So we have a flap. So we have a piece that is 6 by 7. We are going to score this at 1/2 inch. Half an inch and 6 1/2. Okay, set that aside. Our other piece is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. In this one, we are going to score at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Okay. Now we need a piece of non-directional paper out of our paper pack. So we're going to go with that one, and we're going to go, actually we're going to use that side of it. We're going to go with this one. Okay, so this is going to be 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, the finished size. Okay, so we want this to be 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. We are going to adhere this to this before we cut it. So when we cut our angled pockets, this is going to go up to the top edge, which is fine. That is going to be immensely easier. Or do we want to do it that way? Yes, we do want to do it that way. Sorry, I had to think for a second if that was what I really, really wanted. Okay. So I'm going to center this between our score lines. Okay, this is why we want this to be non-directional. Okay. So I'm going to set this to the side. I'm going to bring our other piece in. This one, we want to do the same thing. So this one needs to be 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to adhere this one on here. Now, I'm going to bring my trimmer back on this piece, and it doesn't matter which paper you use for this, just make sure both of them are non-directional. Okay, you're going to line this up like so, corner to corner in the trimmer. And cut across. So there's our 2 pockets. Okay, we'll worry about mitering those in a second. Our flap is going to be the same thing, only this time we're lining it up with that score line on opposite corners. Okay. Okay, like so. And then going across. So now we have no, we don't. Well, you know what? Actually, it's okay because we can go ahead and, because it's the Mega Pad, we have 3 of each sheet. So I can go ahead and cut this one again, 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then cut this one at an angle as well, and just go ahead and put this one on the opposite side. So at this point, if you want your matting for one side to be different, you can, but I'm fine with it being the same both sides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere that one down. Actually, it still would work doing it the way we did it. You would just have to turn one of them over, so your score line would be on the wrong side. So it really does work the way I just did it, but I have now committed to matting the back side of these the same, and I'm fine with that. And that's okay. All right, so we can go ahead and miter. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you do have to turn it so the scoring's on the wrong side. But that's okay, because I'm absolutely fine with it being the same on both sides. This one, because it's a pocket, is fine. Okay, so this bottom one, we're going to miter straight across. For your top, you want to do fairly aggressive. If you want to fold it first and then just trim it off, you can do that too. Either way works. Okay. So if you didn't see that, because I don't know that I was completely in frame, you would go ahead and just fold that over and then cut across, which does work too. Usually, because I don't think to mat these prior to trimming them, I end up just like mitering them and then having a complete mess when I go to actually mat them because I forget to do it that way. Okay. All right, so this is going to go to the bottom outside corner. Okay. This is going to go up here. And we are going to have a gap, but that is, sorry, I forgot we didn't zoom back out yet. Oh my. That is on purpose because we want to see that there's something else on the inside. Okay, so we've got one side down. We'll go ahead and fold this back out. And burnish that down. If you don't want that gap, this needs to be 7 by 7 instead of 6.5 by 6.5. And of course, it's up to you. You have enough paper, you can do it that way. This is why I debated about putting page elements on prior to actually putting them in the book, because it does, when this starts to get chunky, get a little bit harder on these back pages. To get them in, but it can be done. It just requires a little bit of patience. So of course then for this, you would that one underneath there. I don't know. That would be cute actually. Or the yellow side would be good too. Or actually, I like that one. That one. I think I like that one better. So that one I would just cut, of course, 5 7/8. Five 7/8. And then that would slide down into that pocket. And then you've got that little gap in between. Okay. So this one is going to go on the top on the opposite side. And same thing with the pocket. So then these two mirror each other. That needs miter a little bit better. It's really bulky. Okay, and we are on to the last page once I get this one glued in. Okay. Okay. And I just totally put that on backwards, didn't I? It's a good thing that I realized that was still somewhat wet, because that would have been not a fun one to rip back out otherwise. Okay, there we go, like so. All right, I'm actually going to leave that up because that was not totally dry underneath. Okay. Moving on, back side of page 6. Final page, and we're done. Alright, so we have a flap that is 5 by 8.5. With the 8.5 at the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And 4.5, and then we have another flap that is 4.5 by 6.5 with the 6.5 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, we are going to miter and fold and burnish, and miter, and fold and burnish. Because this one folds in on itself, you're going to want to make sure that it closes over before you burnish. Okay, like so. So this one is going to go over here. Centered, of course. This one is going to go over here, centered, and again, this is where you want to make sure this is going to close, but we need the last of our ribbon before we put this one down. closes over like so. And then the other half of your ribbon goes on the top of that flap. And yes, I know I haven't cut them yet. That's on purpose. So that I can pull this up and go, okay, there is my midway point, and then tie it off. And of course, because I am bow challenged, that was definitely not the best bow, but you get the idea. Okay, that's dry, we can close that up. And she is chunky, but she is done. All right, at this point, matting, decorating. Of course, you will have seen on the walkthrough, if you purchased the kit, you will have your detailed pictures of the matting and decorating. The only thing left is the ribbon closure, which of course I did not grab. Okay, so that of course is going to be your big ribbon. And just center it up, tack it down, center it on the back, and there you go. There is your completed, super chunky Firefly album. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you purchased the tutorial, thank you for supporting me, and I'll see you again soon with another one.